Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audiofic. This is a new series, The Princess and the Cheese, and it's written by Jheqia, narrated by Dawn myself. Hello! And it is also a writing prompt by Alicia, so massive shout out to her too. Massive shout out and thank you very much for the commissioned artwork by Arcataza in the thumbnail. So make sure you go and give her some love. All her information is listed down below. Make sure you give Jheqia some love for writing it. And make sure you give me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what will happen in the next chapter. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on this one and other series and other one-shots that are happening at the moment. And enjoy. Chapter 4. Kiss the Girl. Marinette came in cautiously, setting the basket with their lunch on the bookshelf so that she could close the door behind her. Adrien jumped up and took the basket from her. "Where do you want these?" She smiled nervously at him, fidgeting her fingers now that her hands were empty. "The table? I'll get plates." He took the basket to the small table. Unlike the massive dining table at his father's house that stood empty most of the time, there were just seats for the family and one friend. It was so nice to think about the cheerful dinners Marinette and her family spent around it, laughing, joking, playing games, doing homework and washing dishes together, just being a family. Marinette's home and parents felt like an extension of her, or maybe she was an extension of them. Whatever it was, Adrien always felt good when he was here. Now, having spent the morning with her, this was like coming home. Marinette brought the glasses of milk to the table and set out the food on plates for them both. He held a chair for her, and that beautiful rosy hue washed across her face. They started the meal in an awkward silence that Adrien seemed to find difficult to break. Why now? The only time I've ever had trouble talking to Marinette was when I asked her to sign Jagged Stone's album. Was it because he now knew that she loved him? That he was her Buttercup? And where had that nickname come from anyway? And when had she fallen for Adrien? Was it before or after she fell in love with Cat Noir? She fell in love with both sides of the mask. She really is amazing. He gazed at her under the cover of eating the lunch she had brought for them. He caught her casting quick glances under her lashes, and it made him feel warm and tingly all over. She was so lovely and sweet and kind, and she smelled so good, and he just wanted to take her hand and hold it forever. He wanted to trace the calluses on her fingers and tried to puzzle out where they come from. He felt his neck and ears burn as he remembered the platonic kisses that she had shared with him in the past. Casual touches meant in greeting or in thanks that had been completely unappreciated by him at the time. He was losing himself in a pleasant dream of kissing her in the moonlight on her balcony, when Marinette's eyes widened in horror and she dropped the fork with a loud clatter. Adrien jumped in his seat, making the plates rattle. "What's wrong, Marinette?" "Nothing," she whispered, shrieked, her hand coming up quickly to cover her mouth as she blushed. "I just thought I saw a spider." Adrien breathed a sigh of relief, placing a hand over his heart. "Oh, I thought you had seen a Kuma or something." "Nope," she squeaked, her face twisting with a myriad of emotions that passed too quickly for him to identify. "Just my eyes playing tricks on me. I probably stayed up too late last night. And what could I do about Kuma anyway? It's not like I'm a superhero like Cat Noir or a Ladybug, right?" She gave a wide, nervous smile. "But it wasn't a Kuma, right?" Adrien asked, confused. "Nope, no, Kuma just tired me." Adrien cleared his throat and rubbed the back of his neck, hoping to cover the flushing skin there. Of course she can't tell me. She doesn't know that I'm Cat, and I already know that she was Multi-Mouse. She was incredible that day. It's such a pity LB won't use her again just because I know her identity. Especially since I know half the team identities already. Marinette deserves to wear a Miraculous. Well, I think you would be a great superhero. I do call you our everyday ladybug for a reason, you know. Thanks, Marinette stuttered, blushing like a garden in spring. He took another bite of the quiche to have something to do. It really was great, and the fact that she had remembered all of his favourite food brought home exactly how much she cared about him. But why does she always act as if she wants to be friends? I thought at the ice ring that she was asking me out, just the two of us. But she said it should be a group thing. And after that reality show broadcast all those pictures of me in her room, I thought she had a crush on me, but then she said they were just for the fashion. He grinned at the memory of how nervous she had been when he confronted her about them, calling them photographs, and blushing like a rose, her fingers fiddled between them. He had pulled out a bit too much Cat that time, leaning into her personal space and smirking at her, daring her to lie to him. She had simply pushed him back, just like Ladybug would do. He chuckled at how the two girls he cared about could be so similar and yet so different. What's so funny? She asked nervously. Her words brought him back to the memories that had lured him away. Oh, crackers! He blushed, unsure of how to explain what he'd been thinking about without making this whole day even weirder than it already was, at least for him. He cast his mind around for a reason substitute. Cat Noir. She looked confused. What about him? You said that you weren't a hero like Cat Noir or Ladybug, he said in a rush. Most people say that the other way, Ladybug and Cat Noir. Now it was her turn to blush. Well, Cat Noir has rescued me several times and Ladybug never has. He's even stopped by to talk once or twice when things were quiet. He's selfless and brave and kind and very loyal to Ladybug. I just think he doesn't get the kind of attention he deserves. That's all. He couldn't help giving her a soft look. She still cares about Cat, even though I broke her heart and she's moved on. Oh, Marinette, how can you be this sweet? Well, it's nice to know that he has someone as great as you as his fan, but I can understand why others talk more about Ladybug. She is the one who fixes everything, so it makes sense. She watched him as her expression grew stern and thoughtful, her eyes darkened as a storm of emotions brewed in her mind. Whether he fixes everything or not, I know for a fact that she couldn't do it without him. His eyes widened at her sincerity. How? Her gaze drifted to the window as if she was hoping to see the hero swing by outside. You can see it when they fight together. There is such a good friendship, a bond of trust between them, that it makes it hard to ignore, she sighed. I just wish I had someone like that in my life, who cared about Marinette the way that Cat cares for Ladybug. A lump rose in his throat at the wistful tone in her voice. Marinette had loved Cat, and he had rejected her. She had been so good about it at the time, forgiving him with a genuine heart, even after her father had been akumatized because of him. And here she was defending him still, little knowing that the boy who broke her heart was sitting right across from her. And he would have given anything in that moment to take it all back. Would she still love Adrien if she ever found out he was Cat Noir? His heart was too full of her to sit idly after such soft, wistful words. He took her hand in his and gave it a squeeze. You have so many people who care about you, Marinette, including me. Her ocean eyes looked at his hand on hers before locking a gaze with him, and she smiled softly. Oh, his heart melted, and he wanted nothing more than to kiss those rosy lips, to hold her, and to breathe her in. She blushed and looked down at their hands. I know, but it's not the same. I just wish... Her darkened eyes widened, trained on the spot right above his head, and a hand popped up to cover her mouth, as if she had said too much. Oh, you need more milk. Milk. I'll get you some. Can't eat cookies without milk. She jumped up, the mood lost in her nervous activity. When she tucked her head into the refrigerator, muttering to herself all the while, Adrien glared behind him, positive that a certain black Kwami had ruined the moment. It doesn't matter if I have to break the laws of physics. I will throttle Plagg. When she returned to the table with a bottle of milk, her smile nervous and her shoulders tense, he saw Plagg rise to hover behind her head. The Kwami smirked at him and held up an open notebook. Written on the page in black marker were the words, You want her? Look at her, you know you do. Adrien's eyes widened in surprise, but quickly changed to shock as Plagg turned the page. You know she wants you too, so there's one way to ask her. Adrien closed his eyes and let out a soft sigh. How could Plagg do this to him? Even if he did want to kiss Marinette, he really did. He didn't want to do it for an audience, let alone Plagg, who would tease him mercilessly about it for a week to come. To top it all off, his Kwami was using lyrics from a Disney movie to play his wingman. How did this become my life? Adrien, would you like a macaroon? I know they're not passion fruit, but if I knew you were coming today, I would have made you some. His eyes popped open and saw she held out the plate of treats to him. She was looking so sweet and so cute, biting her bottom lip as if the jewel-bright desert were a poor second. She was looking so sweet and cute, biting her bottom lip as if the jewel-bright deserts were a poor second because they weren't his favourite flavour. How could she think he would turn down anything she was kind enough to give him? He smiled at her, wanting to calm her anxiety despite his own. Marinette, you don't need to give me all my favourite foods. I'm happy just to spend my time with you. Really? She squeaked, her cheeks washed with pink yet again. Yeah. Should he do it? Ask her out. To the movies, or dinner, or anything. Anything not to lose this wonderful warm feeling of love and acceptance that was Marinette. To hold her hand some more, to wrap his arms around her and cuddle on the sofa, to kiss her. His heart was beating so fast it hurt. He could do it. Marinette, I was wondering if... Would you... Yes? Adrien flicked his eyes up to Plagg and saw the widest, toothless grin the Kwami had ever managed. He flipped the page. Go on! Kiss the girl! No! He cried, his voice breaking, causing both Plagg and Marinette to wince. No? She looked at him with a sad confusion in her eyes, and all he wanted to do was hold her face in his hands and make everything right for her. He was making a mess of everything today, but at least this time he could blame the actual black cat luck for this disaster. Plagg just glared at him and flipped the page. "Don't be scared! You've got the mood prepared!" Adrien had a sudden coughing fit from nearly swallowing his own tongue. "Adrien? Are you sure you're okay?" Marinette asked, obviously concerned. She got up and moved behind him to pat his back. "You're acting like something is wrong. Can I help?" Even with everything crazy he had done so far today, she still wanted to be there for him. His everyday ladybug really loved him, didn't she? Fine. Really? Adrien grasped between the coughs. Finally, having gotten himself back under control, he looked up and saw the sign Plagg held up. "Go on! Kiss the girl!" As his eyes narrowed, Marinette seemed to sense that something was behind her and turned. But the little menace managed to whisk behind the couch with the notebook before she spotted him. "Marinette," Adrien said softly, his tone nervous. She turned back to him with worried eyes. "There's something I've wanted to ask you for a long time. Would you, if you want to, could we..." He looked into those gorgeous blue eyes, and the world got lost on the way to his mouth. His gaze drifted down to her lips. He swallowed hard. Would she let him? He leaned in and paused, his hands hovering uncertainly near her cheek. She was so close, and he found himself holding his breath. He summoned up all of his courage and brushed her cheek with his thumb as his fingers moved to cradle her neck. She was a lodestone, forever drawing him in. Adrien closed his eyes. At which point, Tom burst through the door with a cheerful, "Okay, kids, you need to be heading back to school soon. Did you get enough to eat?" Adrien leapt backwards at the same time as Marinette, resulting in her landing abruptly on the floor while he managed to take the chair with him, ending up in a tangled heap across from her. Tom tried to keep a grin off his face and was failing utterly. "Sorry, did I interrupt something?" Thank you for listening to part 4. Oh my goodness, Plagg doing Kiss the Girl with little placards. Make sure you go and check out tomorrow Plagg's Day Out part 4 as well. So it'll give you the behind scenes of how he came up with that properly with Tiki. So make sure you check out that. Make sure you go and send Jheqia some love for writing it. Make sure you send me some love for narrating it by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what will happen in the next part. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on this series. Other series are happening at the moment and other ones to come. And I hope you're good and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.